Okay, so today we are going to start the fast track sessions on BW on HANA. Okay, the topics which we are going to cover today are mainly of data source creation and then ADSO and ADSO types. And in ADSO we can do two type of modelings. Okay, field based modeling, info object based modeling. So we will try to cover all those. Okay, in today's session. And info object based modeling, I don't cover much topic, but how I will show you how to do field based modeling. Okay, na? But we will see most of the part. So first thing is how to create a data source on BW on HANA. Okay. So what is BW on HANA and why, like what is the difference between when it comes to BW on HANA and BW is um, mostly on latest 7.5 versions. What will happen? You cannot do anything from RS7. Even on B4 HANA also, when you go to RS7 screen, you don't see all these components here. How you are seeing info object separate one, tab and all right. These are all, it won't be there. Okay. So what will happen even if you want to create data source, that also you need to create from the HANA modeling only, HANA Studio. Okay. From HANA Studio, you have to create those things. I'm not showing like how to add system here and all. If you need, I can show that one as well. Okay. So let me give a small introduction on the HANA Studio, then I will continue with the rest of the things. Okay. In the HANA Studio or Eclipse, you can use any one for the BW, BW modeling on latest versions. Okay. In the HANA Studio, we will call as one perspective. Okay. In order to work on HANA modeling or BW on HANA BW things now, we need to go to the respective perspective here. So what is perspective means, you see on the right hand side, there is one symbol here. When I click on this plus symbol, it is saying open perspective, right side top corner. Okay. When I click here, you see there are different perspectives available on the HANA Studio, and we need to install some particular configure, supporting packages in order to get all these perspectives. Okay. For BW, you have separate software, and for HANA modeling also, you have a separate one. If you install HANA Studio, it won't come all these by default. You need to install supporting packages. Okay, for it. In order to work on BW stuff, we need to open the BW modeling perspective and click on OK. So when you click on OK, you see then that symbol you can see on the right side corner, and we will work on this Project Explorer. Okay, this under Project Explorer, we need to add our SAP system. In order to add our SAP system, how to add our SAP system here, BW system, go to File menu, not File menu, you go to this new symbol. Okay, here BW project. Okay, so sometimes what will happen is here you will see ABAP project also. When you will get ABAP, you need to click on BW project only, not on the project symbol. But always remember, when you are trying to add a BW system here, you must click on add BW project only, not on the project. Okay. For example, if I go to open perspective and bring ABAP point of view here, open, then you see I got ABAP symbol here. Okay. So when I go here and go to add a new project, then you see I got ABAP project. So based upon the perspective we are in, the options in the new menu is changing. Okay. And the create menu options are changing according to the perspective which I am currently in. Okay. If I go to HANA modeling, okay, where is the HANA modeling here? This is a HANA modeler. Okay. If I go to HANA modeler, then what will happen? You see on the left hand side, earlier I am on Project Explorer. Now it got changed to systems, because when we work on HANA modeler, automatically we need systems only, because here we are going to connect with the HANA database. Okay. So that's why perspective plays a very important role when working on the HANA Studio or Eclipse. Okay. So in order to start with our BW work and all in HANA Studio, you should be in the BW modeling perspective. Okay. So simply click on add BW project, and from our SAP GUI, you need to select that project and then click on next. It will come automatically by giving the password and all. That's all introduction about the HANA Studio. And once we have the system here, then when expanding it, you can see BW repositories. If it is a before HANA, you can see one more component here called data source systems. Okay. Currently you see only two favorites BW repository, but if you open the same thing in before HANA, you can see extra source system connections and all also. You can see one more component extra here. Okay. Since it is BW on HANA, we are not having that one. And sometimes what will happen is if here each folder is nothing but one info area. Okay, you can create info area from here, but on this version it is not supporting. So to create any new info area, we need to go to BW system and go to info provider section, and from here you can create info area. So what I can do here is MA. I'm giving one just for naming point convention point of view, MA underscore info. 1 minute, not any J underscore info area. So info area for first J underscore info area. So I created one info area here. Okay, this is our info area. So how we, for example, now if I expand this BW repository on the HANA modeling, can I see the JA underscore info area here? So it is not possible because I need to refresh it because it was created recently and this particular node doesn't automatically updates here. Okay, always you need to refresh here in order to get the latest values. Okay, now let me see where is that JA underscore info area. Mostly it will be at the end. Yeah, see it was at the end. So right click here and here you can add it to favorites. So what is the use of adding it to favorites means instead of searching in 100 info areas, and now I can search in my favorite section. And when you join a project, each user contains their own user ID. So automatically whatever you keep favorites, those will be available to you only, not to everyone. Okay. So here I can see my objects. Where is my J underscore info area? Let me refresh it. Yeah, this is JN area. Okay. If I open it and nothing is there. Okay. So next, what topic we are going to next taking is ADSO creation. Okay. And ADSO, when we want to create ADSOs can be created only from the HANA Studio or Eclipse. You cannot create ADSOs from this GUI, graphical user interface. Okay. So for example, if I right click here, you see I have option only to create a DSOs composite, DSOs and multi-provider virtual providers. Okay, but if I go to HANA Studio and right click on this info area and go to new option, then you see I have an option to create advanced DSOs. Okay, so advanced data store objects can be created only from the what I can say, only from the HANA Studio part. Before going to create ADSO, so our first target is to create one data source. So in that data source, I am going to, upload it to one file called document delivery sales information, and I will create one more data source for the delivery information. So using these two, and now I will explain about what is ADSO, how to create ADSOs, and how we can, create composite providers and utilize the data there. Okay. So I'm going to create some test data. Okay, so let me quickly create one CSV file where I can store this sales information. Okay, I'm taking a simple data, sales data, which contains document number, date, material, quantity, and unit. Okay, in BW, it is very important. Quantity always linked with unit. Okay, you shouldn't remember this one. You always remember this one. Okay, quantity is there, then you need to think about what was the corresponding unit. Okay, if amount is there, you should think about what was the corresponding currency. Is it a fixed currency or the random currency, transactional currency? You have to take that. Okay, so I created one Excel sheet. I am prepared 3 records as a test data. Now I'm going to save this file as a CSV file. So go to browse and let's create one new one. So let's make it as a sales file. Go to Excel. I'm saving it as a comma elevated CSV file. Done. I'm closing this one. And I'm going to create one more CSV file, one more Excel sheet where I can store delivery information. So this is my delivery data. So what is the difference between sales data and delivery data? So sales means when you want to buy some product, at that time the company will create the corresponding sales order, okay, in SAP terminology. For example, if you want to buy a car, then you will go to showroom and you will book your car, right? Means they don't, first of all, they will prepare one sales document number that's saying that you need a car and this is the requirement of you, okay. In the purchase requisition form or somewhere they will ask like if it is a manufacturer, like if you want your own specifications in the corner, then what they will do, they will take all the requirements from you, okay. So such kind of orders we can call it as sales order. So once they take in the sales order and take an amount from you, then what they will do is once the car is ready, then they will prepare the delivery document for you. It means the car is ready, then they can deliver it to you. In this delivery document, they always keep sales document number as a reference. Why? Because in the sales document, you provide all the information what you need in the car. Okay. In the delivery document, again, they don't, whenever they refer to this delivery, they want to see what is your sales also, like our specifications and all. So that's why in the delivery document, they always keep a sales document as a reference document number. Generally, I given it as a sales document, but here it is a reference document number. This is how we use the terminology in our BW. Okay. In delivery document, you get in delivery flow, you see some reference document number, reference item fields. These fields are nothing but, which can refer to your original, sales order. By easily you can navigate to those, sales order from the delivery flow. So delivery always created with reference to sales document number. So 5001 is my delivery and reference to my 1001. I ordered 100 quantity in my, sales order 1001. So same will be reflected automatically here, 1000 pieces. And my delivery happened on January 2nd, and my sales order happened on January 1st. Okay. So we have two dates here and there. That's it. So I'm taking this delivery information. I'm going to the Excel sheet. Let me paste it here. Let me save it as CSV file. Okay. Okay. So before this HANA comes into picture, what happen is if you want to upload any flat file, if you want to load data from flat file into BW, so what is the process of creating it? So in what way we are going to create it, we go to our source system. Okay, we go to our source system. We go to this file type of source system. In type of source system, all these are nothing but different components. Okay. If I right, let me go to here one component called source system component. So this one here, these are all application components. Okay, like info area, how info area is available for at info provider level. In the same way, this is application component in the source system, and we need to take one application component here for reference. Let me create one. Yeah, else I can use the existing one. Um, 1 minute. Yeah. So this was the application component which I have created earlier part for different purposes. Okay. So how we create? I will show you how to create a data source here clearly. But before creating it, I want to open the existing data source and I will point out few points here. Okay, na in the in the traditional BW system, when you create a data source, what will happen? At the field section, we will always, point out each column in my file with the corresponding info object in BW. Okay, so this is how it is. For example, I am loading in my first file sales data. When I try to say load sales data, I have how many columns are there? I have around 5 columns are there. right? Each column I need one info object in BW before loading this information into my BW system. Okay, so why I need the info object? Because at the time of info object data source creation, if I provide info object here, then the template, it will take it as a template, means the properties of this info object will be added to this column. Okay, so let me show you quickly. I need one second. Since I will load first sales data, let me take sales order information. I need some info objects. Document number, date, material, quantity. Fields. Now what I'm going to create is I'm going to create one application component for our purpose. Create application component JA underscore, okay, application component. So I created one application component here. This is my application component, like info area kind here. So under my application component, I am going to create one data source. So data sources are of how many types here? You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 type of data sources we can create. So currently what data I am going to load here, it's a sales data. And what kind of data it is? It is a transactional data, because the day-to-day transactions happens, right? That kind of information it is. That's why when I am creating a data source, I must select the transactional data here as a data source type. Okay, and I need to give here data source name. So ZDS underscore JA underscore sales, okay, is my technical name. So, and I need to provide description here. I am simply giving a sales, okay, sales data. Sales data. And the extraction part, on the extraction part, I need to select, from which file I want to load this information. So currently my file is under this folder, fast track sales file. Okay, so from this flat file system, I want to load data into my BW system. Okay, I have a header row, so I need to ignore the header row here. And my file is a comma separated file, so I need to mention that also here. And this data separator, put comma. Don't touch this escape sign and all. Don't touch all these things. Then go to proposal tab. In the proposal tab, click on load example data. Then it will ask us the permission. So this is my example data. You see, since it was comma separated file, based upon the comma, it is understanding how many columns are there in my file. So currently in my file, I have 5 columns. Okay, and go to field section. In the field section, now you see here on the field section, if how this data type is coming here into date, char, quantity, unit. All these are different data types given by SAP system to my each column in my file. So how these are given? Based upon the data in the file, system proposing these are the data types and these are the lengths that I can give to each column in your file. Okay, but maybe my real-time requirement may be different. Basic system knows, document number I given 1001, so that's why it is given, it is data type as into. But in general, in SAP field, document number is a char field of length 10, correct? So if you want to change it, you can change it here on the field section. You can change the data type. Okay, so generally what we do is in a traditional BW system, when we create this kind of flat file data sources, first we will create info objects for each each column, like this. For example, you see document number, we created for the document number, date, material, quantity. So we create info objects first, then we come to data source and we will give this here. And for 0 unit, I can give 0 unit mark and then click on copy. Then what will happen? So what will happen? You see document number. Now you see earlier it is int5, int4 something. Now it is numc. How it came to numc? Because document if I go to this info object /o rsd1, if I go to this info object, you see it was defined with num4 data type. That's why this properties got replicated from the info object. So this is date set, material is char3 and quantity is m4. num4 unit is like this. Okay, so how these data types now came? These data types are taken from the info objects properties. Okay, we have some other info objects also with data name. Star. Scar num4. For example, zero doc. We have, these are custom fields created by the by one person on the system. Okay, but there are always, you know, some standard fields also available in the system. So zero doc number is a standard field which we can use it for the sales document number in our BW system. Okay, now I'm going to this one. Instead of a GNA doc, I'm going to give the standard field. You see, when I gave the standard field, automatically the data type change it to char and length change it to 10. Okay, so the properties of each column are inherited by the info object properties. Okay, that's what the point I want to check here. For material, we have a standard field called zero material. Okay, now you see char 18. So quantity, let it be quantity also, we have a standard field called zero quantity. And date also we can give it as zero cal day. Okay, so every time there is no need to create info objects for the new requirement. First of all, we need to identify any standard info object can suffice our requirement or not. If it suffices, then we can use the standard info object. If I don't want to use the standard info object due to some project reasons and all, then I need to create a new info object. Okay, that's it. So once we create it, then we will click on activate. Okay, so then if I can go to data preview yellow, then I can see that it was it was properly extracting my information from the flat file. This is how we create it in the old old systems, but now from BW old systems, but now what we can do is we can completely ignore this info object one. Okay, without providing any info object also you can create the info data source. Okay, so how it is, but one thing what we need to do is you should know what was the data type, what was length of it. It's not mandatory to give info object template here. Info object template is just a placeholder where it can fetch the information of the each column. Okay, without giving info object template also you can create these ones. Okay, next. So this is about data source concept. Now I am not going to create info package here. In traditional BW, we always create info package to load data into PSA, and from there data goes to the further layers. So it means PSA is the starting point for data loading into BW system. Okay, first it comes to PSA and then we load it to the DSO cube and all in the traditional traditional BW. But now what happened, now we with the latest BW 7.5 and B4 HANA, we can completely remove this PSA layer. Okay, no need to load data into PSA. We can directly load data into the DSO using the ODP concept. Okay, now we will see in a few minutes that concept also. So data source creation was completed, right? Let me make a note of this data source technical name in Notepad. Okay, so now next what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the DSO. Okay, so let me go to HANA Studio ADSO. I'm going to my info area, right click, new advanced data store object. So here I'm going to give NA underscore a sales. Let me, it will big name, we can remove it. Sales ADSO. Okay, fine. So when I'm creating ADSO, you see in the ADSO we have three tabs: general tab, details tab, settings tab. Okay, na? In the general tab here we need to do some settings. So what is the settings means? Before going to the settings, now let me give you some introduction about this ADSO. Okay, so in traditional BW we have a DSO and we have we have a cube concept, right? So now with Now BW 7.5, what happened is, now say SAP combined these two providers. We call these as providers, right? SAP combined these two providers into a single provider called ADSO. ADSO. Okay, so one ADSO now replaces this DSO and Cube. And in DSO also we have different types like write optimized DSO, standard DSO, direct update DSO. Correct. Now these three types also, now the ADSO have supporting those functionalities, along with ADSO can be act as a cube also. So how one object is acting as multiple objects based upon the settings we are providing here, this ADSO will be act as accordingly. Okay. Earlier systems, what SAP did is, it is difficult, right? People doesn't know which check boxes they need to select for each object type. For that reason, what SAP did is, SAP come up with this model template. Okay, in the model template, if I go to classic objects, here I can see standard data store object, write optimized InfoCube. These are the main things which we use for in regular projects. So it given templates. So for example, I select InfoCube and I click on apply template. Then what happened, you see here, the checkbox, this particular checkbox got triggered. What is this checkbox? All characteristics are keys, reporting on union and something. All characteristics are key. This is correct, right? In InfoCube, every field is a key. Correct. In InfoCube, all characteristics are keys and only key figures will be there in the key figure section. So this checkbox is checked for the cube. Now I am selecting write optimized data store object and I am clicking on apply template. Now you see this checkmark gone here, checkbox, and nothing was checked. Why? Because in write optimized table, there is no change log. That's why this particular got disabled here. Okay. When I select standard data store object and apply, click on apply template, then you see checkbox were ticked for the active data table and the write change log table. Okay, it means in standard table I need these two. So in order to create a ADSO of type standard, now in latest latest versions you don't see this option. Okay, this flexibility you don't have anymore. So you need to select options according to your requirement on your own. Okay, so the learning here is, for standard data store, standard DSOs, ADSOs, you must select active data table along with change log. Then the ADSO will act as a standard data store object. Okay, if you want to create a write optimized ADSO, then you need to uncheck this change log, then it will becomes the write optimized. If you want to create a cube type of ADSO, you need to select this all characteristics are key. Okay, if you want to create direct update DSO, then you need to select direct update data source. Okay, like this you need to select multiple options according to your usage. Now I am going to create a standard ADSO. So I am going to click active data table along with the change log. Okay, so then this will act as a standard data store object. Yeah, DSO. So now go to detail section. So in the detail section, what we are going to do is we are going to add info objects to the DSO. That's it, right? So when I want to create a DSO to store this information in traditional BW, what we are going to do, we need each column in this data source needs each individual info objects. Correct. So as we discussed in data source level also, we need info objects because a DSO can be created only with the info objects. So let's me create it quickly here. Okay. So I'm going to add info objects here. Zero doc number, zero doc underscore number for sales document. Okay. Zero calday for the date field, and material, zero material for the material field. Okay. And then zero quantity for the quantity field, and corresponding unit to store 0 unit. Okay, so these are the different info objects I am adding in my ADSO. So what is DSO? It's a standard DSO. DSO contains a key part also. So it is our responsibility to define the key here. In my table, the key is the document number. So go to manage key section and add the field to the key section. This is below, bottom is the key section. Select the document number, click on add button, then automatically it comes to the key section. Click on OK. See, whichever we defined as a key, for those we can see the key symbol here. Okay, and then click on activate. So this is how we create a ADSO in HANA Studio. Okay, but this is a standard ADSO. Okay, so this kind of development is generally done by the technical team in BW system, BW people, because they should know how to create info object, and after creating info object, they can create data source and they can create this ADSOs. Okay, this is for the technical people. But what SAP did is SAP brought the functionality like a non-technical team also can easily do developments on the BW system. That is the motto behind it. Okay, non-technical team means people who don't know much about how to do developments and all. They can also easily develop now data flows in BW by using a new functionality called field-based modeling. Okay, so what exactly it is? What it like exactly it is means, so people can create data source without much pain, because there is no need of info object template. They should know what is document number, what is the data type and length. If this information they know it, they will create the data source. So once they created data source, now they want to create ADSO. Now this ADSO was created by a now going to be created by a non-technical team. So how they are going to create it? Right click here, new data store object, JA underscore sales to sales data to. Now they can create a template. They can give some templates as a data source. So whatever data source I created here, for my easy reference, I am giving it as a template. Browse. Yeah. I'm giving it as a template. Finish. So I'm making it as a standard data ADS4. I'm going to detail section. Now you see here I got already these fields. Now this is called field-based modeling. Okay. You see earlier I added info objects, but now what you see here, all these are fields. Means there is no corresponding info object, linkage to the BW system. All these columns acts as a simple fields in the how in the Oracle database and all, the columns will be there without any further backend linkage and all. So such kind of fields, this is called field based modeling. Now you see ADSO was created. Just they need to do is they need to add document number as a key and then activate it. You see I created ADSO in less than a minute. Okay. Okay, one more point here. When we creating field based modeling, then we need to take few precautions. What is the, when you create an info object, when you creating ADSO of with info object, then quantity always linked to the unit, right? Because info object itself we will provide the corresponding unit field. But when comes to field based modeling, you need to define this linking property, I can say, on your own. So go to quantity. In the quantity you need to define corresponding unit field 0 unit, and this is type unit. Fine. Document number. Then what was error here? Everything is fine. What is the error here? Syntax error, row column. HANA says not consistent. Expected role ID input. Quantity of type aggregation has to be maintained. Okay, on quantity it is asking to maintain aggregation. So it is summation. By default aggregation is summation, right? Yeah, I need to maintain it. Then activate it. Yeah. So now you see the sales data to this DSO got activated. So creating ADSO of field based is very easy, deadly easy. Okay, no need of any info object creation and all. Earlier it is very difficult to create a DSO in BW, because if you want to create a DSO with 20 fields, first you need to create 20 info objects first. Okay, so but now with field based modeling, no need to create any info objects. Directly go to the data, create ADSO, give your data source as a template, then automatically all fields will come as a field based, all columns will come as a field based modeling. Okay, so even non-technical IT team also can easily create ADSOs now. Okay, now ADSO was created. So this is the difference between how to create in ADSO of info object based and ADSO of type field based modeling. Okay, except this the proper remaining settings. If you want to create the same field based ADSO of type right optimizer, you need to define corresponding check marks. If you want to create ADSO of type cube, you need to define corresponding check marks. So let me create one ADSO of type cube also. Okay, so next one, And once you created ADS4, the creating transformation DTP and those follows as it is. Okay, no changes in that. Let me, yeah, before going to the cube now, let me complete one flow here, then we go to the cube. So now I created a field based, I'm using the field-based ADS4. Now I'm trying to load data into this field-based ADS4 from my data source. So how I create a transformation? Right click on the ADS4, go to new, go to the create transformation here, and here I need to provide the data source, source one, source type as data source, and the data source as this one. I always use this option, go to data source, search for your data source. Then what is the use of searching like this? If you search for your data source, what will happen is the corresponding source system information also filled automatically. Okay, that is one leverage we have when you search for it. Okay, based upon the technical names on the source and target, mapping also came automatically. Just I'm activating this transformation. If it is a BW4 HANA, then you can see this transformation also and as a mapping under it. Under DS4 you can see that drill down map for the transformation. Since it is BW on HANA old version, I'm not able to see that drill down of this DS4 here. Okay, so transformation was created. Now you can create the corresponding DTP also. Go to new, create DTP. Okay, here it is not working properly. Let's try to find this, DSO on our SAP GUI, then we will work on it. Okay, so this is my info provider. Always remember SAP works with the timestamp. Okay, since I created that info area and everything, see that those ADSOs are not coming here. In order to bring the ADSOs information here, I need to refresh my screen /n RS7. So then what will happen automatically? Yeah, now this was refreshed. I can see my ADS was here. I can see my transformation here. Now I can create the corresponding DTP here. So yeah, DTP created. So now let's activate it. In this DTP, now I want to teach you one more new topic here. So what was the topic here? Update. Where is this one? Let me go to this side. In the extraction tab, extraction. Just a second. Data source to this one, right? Where is my PSA? Sales data, data source. Why I'm not getting that option? Oh, So here there is a ODP concept. Generally, you can fetch data directly from the source itself. Here it is not coming. That option is not coming. Let me check one more time why it is not coming. Okay, maybe yeah. Problem with the system only. Yeah, it is not giving that option. Generally, yeah, now when we take a BW4 system, then I will show you that option. So what will happen is without PSA also, we can directly extract data from flat file into my ADS4 directly. Okay, such option is not showing in this DTP. I will show this option in our next session. Okay, so as of now, just to make our session finish, what I'm going to do is I will execute this DTP. So it will fetch data from my flat file into this ADS4. Go to edit, go here, go to extraction. PSA, right? Yeah. So I didn't load the data into PSA. That's why it is giving 0. So I need to create info package here. Create info package. Start. So I create info package and I executed. Now I think data came already to PSA. I'm going to PSA. Yeah, I can see 3 records came to PSA. Now if I execute my DTP, then what will happen? Data loads into my ADS. Oh, sorry, it's an info package again. So execute. Yeah. Since I had 2 requests in the PSA, that's why 6 records came instead of 3 records. So I'm going to activate now. At the end, the data will overwrite and I can see only 3 records. So select the request, click on activate, activate request by request select, and then click on activate. Now what will happen? The data will be activated now in the ADS form. So now one more thing is a difference between generally when we go to manage of the DSO, you see different screen. When you go to manage of ADSO, you see this different screen. Okay. In this manage, we have different options. Here you can see the request list in a different ways. You can group these request list. Currently, this is a request list. Okay. If I define with the group by day, then now you see it is coming in a different way. If I am using group by month, then it is showing in a different way. You see only month, number of requests in this month, and how many number of loaded records. That information it is showing here. Okay. So XAP given this extra functionality to it. And if you want to see, if I select one request here, double click here, then I can see what is this request, from where, date, and everything I can show on the below screen. Okay. And how to activate, this is the to activate it. And in ADSO, what next point is, if you want to see active table. So earlier in DSOs, if you want to see active table, you have a content tab. In there you can see new table, active table, and change log table. But in ADSOs, you don't have that content tab separately here. Okay. So how to go to environment? Here you can see this display active table, inbound table, change log table. Here, new table, now they call it as inbound table, active table, change log table, same naming convention. Okay. So since my data is now in active table, I am go to environment, display active data. Then I can see my data in my active table, 3 records. Okay. So this was the difference. So now we've seen how to create ADSO, the 2 field-based ADSO, and we've seen it, right? Similarly, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one more, data source for the delivery too. Do we created already data source for delivery? Let me check quickly. Where is data sources? Yeah. So I'm creating one more new data source for the delivery part. Delivery data source. Sorry, technical name, right? GDS underscore J underscore delivery. And it is after transactional data. Go to here and go to extraction. Yeah, name I need to give, right, something. Delivery data. And then go to extraction part. Select our file, CSV delivery file. Click on open. And then it is a comma separated, and it contains header row, and only separator you need to change it to comma, and go to proposal tab and load example data. Hello. So based upon the data proposal, it is giving the data type and length. Now go to field section. Only thing what you need to do is here, you need to change the length to char 10. If you want field based modeling, not info object based modeling, then you need to take care of this part. Okay. So I'm giving char 10 here also. And quantity is a quantity, and my 17 and 2 I'm giving 17, and decimals 3 I'm giving here, and unit is a common. Okay. That's it. Activate this one. Okay. Go to preview tab and see whether data is coming as expected or not. Read preview data. Hello. See, data was loading as expected. And okay. So I'm done with the DSO. Now what I'm going to do, I'm done with the data source. Now I'm going to HANA modeling, HANA Studio. I'm creating a new ADSO, new advanced data store object. Okay, I'm giving name as J underscore A delivery. delivery DSO. And on the template, I'm giving my data source name. So by giving data source name, what was the benefit of here? If I don't give this data source name as a template, now what will happen? Why is it mandatory to give template? It is not mandatory to give template. Okay, now if I don't give template, what will happen is, if I click on finish, then what will happen on the first screen? I need to keep my settings for the standard data store. It was already for standard DSO. Then go to detail section. You see, detail section was empty. Now you need to add either info objects, add field. For example, if you're adding field, you see you have to add field one by field, and you need to define the data type and everything you need to do. So this will take again consume time. Okay, this will again consume lot of time to define. I need to define five fields here, and then I need to update for each field the corresponding data type and length according to my file. Correct. So it will take lot of time. That's why I don't want to take this pain here. So simply creating, let me delete this one. Simply creating by using it as a template, it saves lot of effort from manual effort. Okay, go here, go to data source, and then give JA underscore delivery, delivery, delivery. That's it. Go to template, go to browse, go to here, select this one, click on finish. You see only template here on the detail section. You need to change the settings accordingly, whatever ADS4 type you need, and go to detail section. Now you can see all the fields available with the same technical name as the data source column name, and you can already this data type and everything set accordingly. Okay, so for the quantity you need to define the aggregation summation, which the error we already seen, and unit also fine, all are set. Okay, activate. But remember, always remember, when you are doing field-based modeling and you are adding fields manually, it is your responsibility to update the what is the unit field. Okay, generally what happen is when you have such kind of requirement, first you need to update the add the field unit field first, then add the quantity field. Okay, so let me show you just for your knowledge. I want to show you this one. I'm removing these two fields. Okay, I'm going to create it now. So now I'm going to add new field. I'm giving the name as quantity. Okay, quantity. So now in the data type, I am selecting it as quantity. Okay, whenever I select it as a quantity, then I need to say 17 and I'm giving decimals as 2 here. 2. Okay, you see unit field is mandatory. It is giving cross mark here. Okay, please add unit field, please add unit field. But when I go to drop down here, am I seeing anything? I don't see anything. Why? Because in my ADS4 structure, as of now in this structure, system is not identifying any column as a unit column to propose here. Okay, that's why now first you have to add the unit column here, unit, and the data type as a unit here, unit here, quantity, MC string, currency, yeah, unit here. Add unit here. Now, since you added unit here, now go to quantity. Now go to unit field. You see, since there is a column available of type unit, it is proposing that unit here. You need to select this unit. Okay, this is how when you do field-based modeling, you remember quantity currency fields must be mapped to the corresponding currency and unit, and the aggregation field also you need to create it. Okay, that's it. And now I'm activating it. Yeah, so I forgot to add key section here. So delivery number is my key part to this ADSO. I'm activating this. What it is saying, expecting rule ID, inconsistent. So that one equal sign is expected, row 1, column 24. Field name date is reserved. Okay, here you see date is reserved. It is saying date is a reserved field name. So it is asking to take another one. So let's take not here, cal day. Let's give cal day here. Date is a reserved field. System is not accepting it to give date as a column name. So let's change it to different name. Now the ADSO got activated. Now we have the delivery ADSO also available. Now go to SAP screen. Now go to info provider section. Now, in order to get the latest changes here, refresh the screen. Now you can see delivery one. So now I'm going to create, transformation for it. It's coming from a data source. So my data source name is GDS underscore J underscore D something. Yeah, delivery. Okay. Mapping, you see, if the technical names are same on both sides, then only system will propose automated mapping. Okay, if the technical names not match between source and target, system don't do anything. You have to do the manual, this one. Quantity, I written the spelling in mismatch. That's why quantity also not mapped properly. So we are done with transformation, and let's create DTP also. Okay. First, I need to create info package in order to bring data into PSA. So without PSA, how to load, I will show in next sessions. So this is kind of like a revision kind of, because for composite provider, I need at least two providers. That's the reason I am creating this delivery also. Yeah, info package completed mostly. Just the records. I'm executing DTP. Three records came. Do to admin target. Activate your request. Now three records came. Okay, if I go to environment, go to active table. Now you can see your three records in the system. Okay, so now you have two ADSOs, one for sales ADSO, another is for delivery ADSO. Now what we are going to do next? Now we are going to learn the composite provider. So this composite provider also is a new HANA based object. We call ADSO and composite provider as a HANA based object because these providers you can create only on the HANA database. If your database is traditional database, then system don't support this ADSO and composite provider design. Okay. Now I'm right clicking on info area. I'm create a new and then composite provider. JA underscore C for composite provider. Let's take a CP1. CMP composite, right? CMP1. Let's take CMP1. Composite. So here you can click on next symbol to go this join union provider information, or simply click on finish button. You can do the modeling on here also. Okay, both ways are possible. Go to scenario section. Okay, in the scenario section, you see when you create a composite provider, by default you are getting one union node like this, and you have two more tabs on your design called source and target. Okay, so when you create a multi-provider, generally what will happen when you create a multi-provider, system asks you what are the source providers on the initial screen, right? And then you need to drag the fields from the source into target. In the same way, here also we have source and target two columns here, and here you have the design field here. Okay, so now let's see how to design. But first thing is, what is the difference between the multi-provider and the composite provider? So we already seen the difference between DSO and ADSO, like supporting more functionalities. In the same way, multi-provider and composite provider. So how SAP brought this into picture means, yeah, I can use the same picture again. Earlier, we have multi-provider concept and InfoSet concept. We have two different views, multi-provider and InfoSet. These two are views, means these does not store the data physically. It stores data. It will fetch data from the underlying providers at runtime. Okay. Now these two are replaced with a composite provider. So means I can create a composite provider, and this composite provider I can perform both union and join. So multi-provider generally supports union functionality, and InfoSet generally supports join functionality. Correct? So, but now in my composite provider, I can perform these two operations at a time in my composite provider. That was the difference between the old BW objects and the latest HANA based composite provider. Okay, so if I go here to my composite provider design, here when I put my cursor here, then I can see two kind of symbols here. Oh, this symbol is called add symbol. This is also, this is for union, this is for join. Okay, the top symbol I need to use in order to add any object as a union to the corresponding one, and below I have to use when I want to join with someone. Okay, so first what we do is join we will learn secondly. First, we will learn the union part. Okay, to do union. So when we will perform union, mostly we will perform union when we have two objects of same structure. Okay, remember this, when we have two objects with same structure, then we perform union. So what was the real-time scenario here? In real-time scenario, you may have two providers, one provider storing the one country information, sales information, and another DSO is storing sales information of different country. For example, DSO1 stores India information, Indian sales, and DSO2 stores UK sales. So you want to merge these, you want to do reporting on these two sales together in single report. Then you have to union these two providers under one composite provider. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one this DSO JS sales 2. Just what you can do, you can click on this union symbol, union means add symbol, and you can select JA underscore sale 2. Okay, so I think this is a field-based modeling where we loaded data. I click on OK. So when I click on OK, since I clicked here, union is coming here like this. Below one, I can see my sales 2. Okay, so when I click on yeah. So when I click on JS Sales 2, what I can see on the source side, I can see all the fields. On the target side, you see, as of now, no fields are there. So I need to add the fields manually to the target. Okay, so I need to add manually to the target. So how to add? You have multiple ways. You can add field by field like this. Okay, it's up to you. Remove fields, or right click on the parent DSO, create assignments. Then it will create assignment for all the fields in the DSO, means it will fetch, it will add all the fields from your DSO into your target composite provider. So the right hand one is representing the composite provider output structure. On the left hand one, it is representing your provider. Next, so I want to do union one more provider. I cannot do with delivery. Let me take another provider from another field where I have it. So that's it. Here I may have some TSOs. This is also same structure. So I am taking this one, copy. I'm going here. I'm adding one more. I'm clicking on this, add symbol, not on the join with add symbol. Then only you can do union. If you want to do union with any new provider, you need to click on the yellow mark and then select the corresponding provider. You see, so this is union property. So this one and this one. Now see how this, composite provider, how to work on it. So when I select the corresponding ZNA SOA, system is showing on the source tab only this particular DSO information. Okay, when I click on JS sales 2, then on the source side it is showing only sales to relevant DSO and the corresponding info objects. When I'm clicking on union, then when I click on union, then system is showing all the objects added under this union. Okay, now I can see both the JS sales 2 and NES SOA. So this is how the navigation works in the composite provider. Based upon your selection, the source, what it is showing on the source will vary. Okay, so when I click on SOA, see it is showing these fields and nothing is currently mapped to the target. So it is, there is no mappings showing here. Now what is union? Union means two different DSOs of same structure. Now if I see these two DSOs are having same structure, but the only difference is these two are having different technical names. Here also I have sales document. Here also I have document number. Both are same, but the technical names are different. But even though technical names are different, since kind of same, I'm going to map this to document number. I'm going to unit to map to unit field. I'm going to map date to date. Here, material to material. Yeah, I will leave quantity as of now just because I want to show something here. So in the composite provider, you have different options, See, after each technical name of the DSO, you see 1 plus 4. What is this one? What is this 4? 1 plus 4 is total 5. It means this DSO contains 5 info objects in this structure. Okay, that is total 5 means. And what is this one means? The left side one is always how many fields are unmapped. For example, let me, remove mapping from unit here, remove assignments. You see, now 2. Why it changed it to 2? Because here unit field and quantity field both are unmapped. So 2 unmapped fields and 3 mapped fields. 3 material, date, and document number. This 3 represents how many mapped fields, how many 2 represents how many unmapped fields. Okay, na? So for example, if I map unit to unit and material to material, quantity to quantity, then there are no unmapped fields in my provider. Why it is not taking quantity to quantity? Quantity.
Just a small doubt here.
Data type reference. Sorry, come again.
Just a small doubt.
Yes.
Yeah. So here in composite provider, you choose two data sources, DS right? And one is
Yes.
sales data and delivery. And these are
Yes.
DS normal DS only, na, or ADS?
Okay, so when coming to this one, these are both are sales. Okay, na I take it a different one here. JNA SOA is not created now. It was created old one, but it is a DSO. Okay, this is also type what you see data store object advanced. When I put cursor here now, it is showing this one, and this is also advanced. I can add normal DSOs also here. Okay, it supports both. So let me go here. Let me check any normal DSO type here. Sales delivery. This is also ADSO. From SAP GUI, if you double click on any provider, it is showing this kind of it, then it is nothing but, advanced DSOs. Created all ADSOs. Sales. This is normal DSO. In here also, I think I have document number, material date, same fields. So let me add this DSO also into my data. So I'm clicking on union. I'm clicking on this yellow symbol, selecting this one. Okay. You see, it is a, no, not this one. Where is it? Jetanya SOA. Same info object, right? Jetanya SO. One second. Let me remove this. There is one more Jetanya SO also. See, classic data store. It is telling it is a classic data source, means it is a normal DSO. Okay, this is advanced DSO. We can add classic also, not a problem. Okay, I can map same thing, document number, material, date to date, quantity. Let me see. Yeah, it is allowing quantity, and then yeah, unit of measure automatically mapped. Yeah, measure automatically mapped by analysis. Okay, so from the second one, I'm not able to add quantity, maybe because of different data type are here. Okay, maybe it is numsy type and here it is decimal. Maybe that is the reason. Yeah, you see here this quantity is of type num4 and this quantity is of type quantity. Okay, that's the reason I'm not able to add this quantity into my target. So I can add this field as a new field here. Okay, so that's all. So you see, this is how we perform union. So union means same object mapped from different sources from the sources. Okay, we have multiple sources here. In the target, we have only one info object, one column mapped to different sources from the source. Okay, so this is union. And now I hope you understand what is 0 plus 5 or 0 plus 5 and all. In the target also you see 0 plus 2 plus 4. Okay, it means what is this means? Info object. 1 minute. You see 0 plus 3. What is the 0 plus 3 means? 0 plus 3 means here this particular field was mapped from 3 different sources. Let's say example, I am removing the mapping from here. Okay, now you see 1 plus 2. It means it is available in 3 places in the source, but it is mapped from only one, 2 places it is mapped. So that's how it is, remembering. Now it is 0 plus 3. Okay. Next group 1 plus. That's it. Okay. That's what I can explain as of now here. Now I'm activating it. So these are the important points. So far we need to remember here. What is it is telling here. GNA does not exist. ZNA auto quantity does not exist. ZNA ORTQ. Obsolete assignment ZNA ORTQ. What is this obsolete assignment? Quantity assignment and the unit assignment is there. Why? We mapped it right. Syntax error. Source GNA does not exist. ZNA. Okay, maybe there is some problem happening when I am mapping with this order quantity. Why? This is of type quantity only. This is of type 0 unit only. Let me remove this unit assignments once. Remove assignment for unit and map only from here because it is of type quantity. So let me map from here and again map it from here. Okay, and let me remove this field. Remove. Okay, let me try to activate. Source field 0 does not exist. Upset assignment. Source field 0 unit y does not exist. Is there a message? Zero unit output 0 unit. Detail. One second. Okay, so before here, let me show you this one also. So when you are using field-based provider, okay, now we can correct that one. But before that, let's come to this topic. Okay, so in the output tab, when I go to output tab, you see whatever fields I have in the end output one, the same I can see on the output tab also. Okay, so document number, date, material, quantity, and unit. These are the total 5 fields. So the same fields we can see here. So what is the importance of this unit? So when you are doing info object based modeling, so what is the benefit of info object modeling? So the benefit of info object based modeling is it supports master data. It means if you need any navigation attribute like material group, for material we can have material group, material type and all. So if you want a master data, then simply you can bring it by using the navigation attribute concept. Correct. But when you do this, field based modeling, you don't have such flexibility. So how you can but there is a flexibility given, but in general, fields are not master data. It won't store any information about the master information. Correct. So what we can do is at a composite provider level, you can convert field based modeling into info object based modeling by assigning corresponding info objects to the fields. For example, quantity is there. As of now, this quantity is a field because you see here usage of system file name quantity. So now I can change this quantity into 0 quantity info object at a composite provider level. So how I can do it? So in the association, you need to select info object. Here you need to assign the BW info object. 0 quantity, and then select this direct usage of associated beta. Okay, if it is like this, then you need to select the unit data type quantity and go to unit. So this is of this is also you need to use like this 0 unit, then automatically I think it will work. Generally over DQ. Generally over DQ means this one. Let me remove this. This is the problem for me. Alter quantity. Oh, Geneva DQ is also num-c4. It is not quantity field, num-c4. This is also. So that's the reason it is giving problem. Let me delete this one. Okay. So we have two things, quantity and like this. Okay, it's fine. Activate. Now it was activating properly. Okay. So when coming to here, quantity. So what I did for quantity initially is a field-based object. Okay, field-based. It's a field. Okay, quantity is a field. Now what I did, I updated corresponding info object to it. So what is the benefit of adding info object to it means now from when we do reporting in the Bex query reporting side, now I can take leverage of all the functionalities of this info object. Okay, na? So the best way for you is material. So currently, if you let me see, 1 minute. If I go to this material master data, there are no attributes here. There I have some material master data info objects here. Material, yeah, attributes are there. It's nice. And this is of type length character. Yeah. For example, material. In material, I have attributes as material group and brand is there. Okay, these two are my attributes. Now I want to bring this material group brand information into my reporting. When I do this field-based modeling, I cannot bring such information because this material does not link to any other master data. Okay, na? In order to bring such information, what I need to do is I need to update info object for this material field. So how I can do it? I will select the material. I will go to association. I will go to info object selection here and provide the technical name of my info object and then select direct usage of associated by name. Then automatically what will happen? You see associated object is mapped. So when I have this functionality, now I can enable master data to it. How it now right click here, navigation attributes. Now it is showing these two. Click on OK. You see now I brought the attributes, navigation attributes of this material. Now I am using the BW master data concept in my composite provider. Even though I did field-based modeling at a DSO level, by using this functionality at composite provider level, I can convert a field into info object by assigning the corresponding info object to the field. Due to this, I can able to leverage the master data concept at my composite provider level. Okay. Now these two master data I can use it at report level. Clear so far? Any questions?
Nice.
Okay, fine. So this is about composite provider. So far in composite provider, we learned with the union concept. Now we need to learn with the join concept also. Okay. So now I have two sales order DSOs here. Okay. Na? And when I add these two here as a union, now my top node, my parent node is showing as union. Remember, whenever you try to join something in this composite provider, join always plays the highest priority. Okay. Now, for example, in my second sales too, now what I'm going to do is I want to join here. Okay. So when you do join anything, designing also to be done sequentially. So when I click on join here, you see here I don't have join symbol. Here I don't have join symbol. Here only I am getting join symbol. So when I click on join symbol, it is asking with which I want to join. So JA underscore Delhi is my delivery DSO. I'm selecting it. Click on OK. See, when I click on OK, what happened? since already union done till this point, now the result it is joining with my new provider. So the total, parent change to join. Okay. So once you did join, now, it is not possible at this point level. You cannot do further unions here. If you want to do union only, you can do here. So unions has to be done first, followed by the next is the join one. So if in a composite provider you have a requirement to do union and join, first perform all the unions and finally come to the join part. Okay. So now I did join. So how to perform join in composite provider? Let's see. So this is my one output. So join means two parties. We are like two components, two providers. We are doing join A and B. So this first one acts as a this output, and this is B. Now I have to join these two. So how to join these two? First of all, I need to select what fields I need from the right hand side. Okay. So from this delivery DSMO, I need, for example, delivery number. Okay. Select this to the output target delivery number. Now go to J1 because J1 defines the join condition. When you click on union or when you click on JA also you are getting this join condition, but click on this J1. Okay, when you click on J1, then you can see both the union output and the J1. So here you need to define the join condition. So what is my join condition? Document number is my join condition. So how to do it? So from union, this is the union. From here, I am taking the document number. I am dragging this document number into this join condition, like a drag and drop. Okay, dragging it and then dropping on my join condition. So when I drop it, then I will get one pop-up. Okay, to select to this document number which field you want to join it from the delivery. Okay, so it will come as a pop-up. In delivery also I have one delivery number, right? This I will select. Okay, now sorry, document number, reference document number I will do join. So drag and drop this document number into my join condition. You see, as I explained, I got one pop-up. This pop-up generally contains fields from my other provider B, which is nothing but delivery provider. You see, delivery number and all. So here I am selecting the reference document number and selecting OK. Now you see document number is equal to reference document number. It is showing this way. Okay. When I click on this one, yeah, when I click on this one, automatically it is going here. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So to join, this is how we perform join. Any questions here? So what will happen from join? I did a document number and then I am bringing delivery number. I'm activating it. So the important thing is when we, I think these are from old one. Yeah, old error messages, not here. You see, our composite provider is in active state. Let me close this one. Reopen composite provider. Yeah, we are in good state. So this is how to perform unions and joins in a composite provider. Always a join takes the highest priority. First perform all the unions and then go here. And remaining all functionalities I explained here. From this DSO, only 3 fields unmapped fields are there, 2 fields only mapped fields are there. And this is the output. On the output tab, we can see both, field-based modeling and info-object-based modeling. When we assign any info object to it, then automatically the corresponding, master data also enabled. So this is all about, field-based modeling in ADS for some composite providers. How to leverage the master data on a field-based modeling also. I explained this concept here. Yeah, that's all. So when we do reporting on this composite provider, I will explain you, how these fields are like. Okay. So when I click on this cal day at reporting level, I can see field in this technical name with this technical name. But when I select this field at reporting level, I can see this name because it was associated with the info object and this was a field based info field. Okay. So when we come to reporting now, I will explain more about composite provider properties and all if anything required more. Okay. So this is done. Let me stop recording.